Hey guys, welcome back to another video, and today got more of a rambling video on deck. I'm gonna make another off-season preview tomorrow, but in the meantime, just gonna kind of do a simple, just talk into a microphone for like 15 to 20 minutes, and just get all my thoughts out about the KD trade and this whole saga, which has now gone on for so long, and I'm getting a little tired of it. We haven't really learned anything new in the last couple of days. It's just been the same thing over and over and over and over and over and over. So let's just get into it. There's been a lot of KD. I'm not going to break down every last bit of KD news. I have a bunch of tweets pulled up here that I'm going to talk about, but the fact he doesn't want to play in Minnesota, that's not surprising to me. He wants to go play in a no income tax, as well as a warm weather state. Not surprising to me. I don't know, like, cool. What I will say is I think I just don't know where he's gonna end up. I'm gonna be honest. I thought I would have by now like a good, like, I thought the Spurs were just gonna get him. Like, it felt like the Spurs made all the sense in the world. Like, they had the assets, they had the need, they just had everything. But it seems like they're not trying to go for him. And I've seen reporting that was effectively along the lines of, like, they want to save their assets for a bigger star. Now, to me, that sounds like Giannis or bust. Now, I don't think they're going to get Giannis. Giannis is not going to get traded. But it is interesting. This from Sean Sharani on the Pat McAfee show that the Rockets and the Heat are the most realistic spots than the Spurs. This can all change. What I really want to talk about is the Raptors. Now, the Raptors are willing to dangle any combination of RJ Barrett, Emmanuel Quickly, Jakob Poeltl, and ninth pick in trade talks surrounding KD. So what this would look like would be, the salaries are a little interesting. I'll pull it up on Fanspo here. But I've always thought that, like, a team like the Raptors makes the most sense for KD, right? A team that is so desperate, they would be willing to do anything. So I think like a package of Quickly and Poeltl gets you there monetarily. You can send the ninth pick to the Suns. This makes a ton of sense, in my opinion, right? If you're the Suns, you get the ninth pick. You get the big man you wanted. You get a young, like, good point guard. I don't know why you wouldn't do that. And then, of course, the other framework, I'm guessing, would be doing this with RJ Barrett. Now, this one, the Suns would be getting off money, but they're not getting, like, RJ Barrett's just not the same level of player. If there was Barrett, I think it would have to be, hey, we need another draft pick. Like, we need a 31 first or something. But honestly, like, again, I think a team like the Raptors would be the team that would overpay. Or the Heat. I think the Rockets and the Spurs are both kind of in this, like, we would love KD, but if we don't get him, it's not the end of the world. Where I do think Miami or Toronto would be like, dude, we have to get KD. Toronto, I don't know what the heck they're doing, but in terms of a KD to the Miami trade, it's Wiggins. It's not Duncan Robinson, or it is Duncan Robinson. It's not Rozier. It's Duncan Robinson, and I think it is Kel'el Ware. And then it's the 20th pick, maybe. They want two first, the 20th pick, the 31 first, and the 29 first. So 3 firsts in this pack. Probably not 3 firsts. Probably one of these picks. Maybe not the 20th pick because it's in this year's draft. But like 2 future draft picks. Kel'el Ware. I mean, if you're the Suns, I would also take this package in a heartbeat. I get Wiggins, who I would look to just trade. I'm going to get the Lakers involved because I got to get the Lakers involved. You got to get the Lakers involved in any type of trade. But, like, you could send out Wiggins and get back, Rui and Dalton Connect. I don't think this is going to work, yeah. Lakers can't take on that much in salary. This would actually be to the Suns. So what to do? Like, Shake Milton goes to the Heat. I think monetarily this will work. So this would be a way the Suns going to get off even more money and get an expiring deal in Rui if they wanted to. So I really just doubt it's the Rockets or the Spurs. Now, again, KD does not want to go to Toronto. I can promise you that. But I think clearly the Suns couldn't care less about the what KD wants. Like what are his interests? We have this other tweet here, an NBA scout. Again, if there's an NBA scout, I'm not saying Sam Amico is not trustworthy, but most teams that one of our teams that just want to sell some jerseys at this age, he's 36, 37, I don't see a real benefit in giving him much for him. He's not leading anyone to the promised land anymore. Team could take him as a rental to move merchandise for a year, and that's not a terrible idea. Just don't mortgage the future. Anyone from that 35 and over crowd isn't worth these days. Kevin Durant is part of that crowd. Now, I disagree a little bit. I do think KD is still really good. But yeah, like Miami, why? What is it KD adding to your team? Toronto? Why are we doing that? You know? I disagree, though, that he's definitely not worth that future draft capital because he was 32, maybe. Or, shit, we know what happened when he was 32 or even 33. At this stage in his career, he's probably got 2 or 3 years left of high-level play. You're not giving him a bunch of picks. People bring up, like, dude, Desmond Bane was 4 first-round picks. KD was going to get that much. My thing with it is this. The biggest reason... Oh, look, the Magic actually have their logo updated. Do they have... No, I don't know. Dude, that logo, by the way, for the Magic... Chef's kiss. Is that Desmond Bane has 4 years left on his deal, right? So I think teams value having that long-term security, and KD's does not have that. He can leave after a year. You don't know how long he's going to play. So I really don't see the purpose in giving up assets for him. So he wouldn't roll Brian Windhorst. They could keep KD. I don't think this one comes true. The Phoenix Suns have no leverage in trade talks. Phoenix Suns may be placing too high of a value on KD. Might have to reduce their asking price. Suns have no leverage. That's very interesting to me. There is a little bit, and I just said I think he's going to get traded almost 100%, but there is a little bit of me that thinks the Suns might just be like, you know what, we don't like the value. Now, that would be a horrific decision to keep Kevin Durant. That's just how value is never going to get better. He's only going to get older. So, and I think KD might just say, I'm not playing. Like, that type of thing could happen. If I'm the Suns, and I saw Gambo, who is really, really good, like, in my opinion, the best, is like the best Suns guy, said that he would feel like the Suns were getting robbed in terms of this trade package if it was Quickly, Pirtle, the 9th pick, and I heavily disagree. Quickly is a good young guard who has shown flashes of like legitimate high upside potential. Jakob Pirtle is a really good starting center. Like he's easily a top 15 center in the league, and the 9th pick's a great asset. I don't understand not doing this move. Quickly is already locked up long term. Did he even play much this year? Played 33 games, but this is a guy who has shown to be at the very, very least. Quickly's been in the league for a minute. He's actually older than Luka, which is crazy. Quickly to me has shown to be either just probably a really, really high level 6th man. I would definitely do this trade. Maybe I needed one more future pick, but I don't know why this wouldn't be enough. You want a center. Pirtle's on an expiring, so I don't know. I don't know what the Suns are really doing. I think if they're going to trade KD again, it's not going to be for that much. It just is not. Like, it's just not going to get that same package that they want. And that could lead to them not getting traded, but I doubt that. I think that he's going to get traded. Here's another thing from Kirk Goldsberry, who knows his stuff, is sourced that the Suns asked for number 2 picker Stephon Castle. They're never in a million years getting the second picker, Stephon Castle, in that trade. And this is the tweet I was talking about earlier, that a bigger player, someone who may fit the timeline. To me, this screams like Booker or Morant or something like that. So it's tough. It is certainly tough to see. It, I just it seems like we're at an impasse with his value, where the Suns want something that the league is like, we're not doing. And I think that is the thing that is tough for the reason this trade hasn't happened yet. Is I do think that the Raptors were getting close to a deal, and I think Minnesota has gotten close to a deal, but they're just, the Suns really, really want, I think, future draft picks, and teams are not going to trade future draft picks. Like, okay, maybe a pick. So it is just tough to see a world in which they're getting future assets. So my final stuff I want to talk about, before I end this video with the Durant saga, has just been, it's gotten tiring. Every day it's more of the same reports, what his top three are. And this has been the most like agent versus team using Shams that I've ever seen. And this is the one thing that I like Shams. I think he's obviously great. No one dislikes him. But I do think that he can sometimes be a little bit of a mouthpiece for GMs and agents. Specifically with this Durant saga, where he's tweeting pretty much back and forth. He would prefer to land with these teams. Like, that clearly is the agent, or Durant himself, or Rich Kleiman, or whoever, telling him, I want to go to these teams, and then he gets whatever. So the Durant saga is I think is nearing an end. I do think he gets traded before draft night. I'd be somewhat surprised. I'd be very surprised if he doesn't get traded. It just seems pretty inevitable. Now, the only scenario where he doesn't get traded, honestly, would be if the Suns just, I think if the Suns found a trade where they could net a center, and they tricked themselves into thinking they could compete. What I mean by that is, if like you traded Grayson Allen, you know, this one's a little weird, but if like you traded Grayson Allen for like Daniel Gafford, you traded the 29th pick. Oh, Mavs can't do this. You know, I'll explain. Like, if they found a way to make a trade to get a big man, I could see a world where they could convince themselves that, okay, you know, we got Daniel Gafford, and we still have Durant, and then that's how we can convince ourselves to keep this core together. Other than that, though, I see no world in which KD is a member of the Suns. If I had to take a guess who he ends up with, I think it's gonna be Miami. My reasoning is, I think while the Raptors really want Durant, I think the Heat are the most desperate and are the most willing giving up future assets. And what I mean by future assets is, okay, like the 25th pick or whatever this year from the Heat, or like from the 9th pick or whatever. I think the Suns want like future and the future assets, like 20-30 picks or whatever. So yeah, I'm seeing reports as I go along here that the Rockets have offered Jalen Green and Jabari for Kevin Durant, but the Suns don't want Jalen Green. Saw another report that if they got Jalen Green, they'd reroute him. The Suns feel like they're being a little picky for my liking, but that's all the stuff I want to talk about with KD. The other news I wanted to get into before I get off is Hallie getting hurt, which is really unfortunate. Now, thankfully, there is two days off before Game 6, but I would be shocked if he plays. Maybe he plays, but he certainly will not be in a good way. A strained right calf. Calf strains are tough injuries, and they're injuries you cannot rush from. Because if you do, you get KD in the finals against the Raptors where he tears his Achilles. Unfortunately, I think this is going to lead to my prediction being right. I guessed OKC in 6. I think it's going to be OKC in 6. But, man, I really want Halliburton to play, man. I'm gonna be so sad if he missed, because it would obviously would not ruin the finals, but it would be like the end. It's gonna be a 35 fucking point blowout. No one's gonna care. So hopefully he can play. But that's gonna do it all for this video. A little bit of a random, just ramble video. I just wanted to get some stuff about off my chest about Durant. Really, really want news surrounding KD. Hopefully we get news. After the finals is over is really when the off-season stuff is going to start. And the final thing, I got some comments asking me about, you know, am I going to do NFL content, or is it just me? I will be doing NFL content, 100%. I think that's going to start later in the summer once the NBA offseason winds down, because, I mean, we're about to be in the absolute thick of the NBA offseason, and the NFL right now, kind of nothing going on. When it gets close to the NFL season, in August when there's training camp, I'll do predictions, power rankings, all that. So be on the lookout for that in a couple months. And hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you all next time.